the moment from the answers you're giving me.
Well, Andrew, you shed light on it.
And Widow, given the huge increases over the past 10 years that health, education and international aid have had, and many people say that they see a benefit, but they don't see a benefit of the billions and billions that have been poured in. Why is the Tory party saying you'll continue to spend even more in these areas?
It's a good question. First of all, can I say this, that I think everybody's grown up, and the notion that there won't be cuts anywhere is just farcical. There have got to be cuts somewhere. The question is where and how. And that was the point I was trying to make earlier. The fact that you're cutting doesn't mean you have to eat in to essential services. But when it comes to health, I mean, I think you've actually asked a question that is very big, that the political parties shy away from, which is how can we go on with the current system of the National Health Service that we've got in the teeth of all the advances of mega medical science, which makes fresh demands. And that is why we're always having to spend more, because no matter what we do, there's always more coming on stream. It isn't a question that when you solve something, it reduces in demand.
So are they right to ring-fence these things?
I think we're certainly right to ring-fence health, but I think we've also got to say, and I know no party wants to do this, and I know I'm unpopular every time I say it, but somebody somewhere has got to start a national debate on how we supply health for the rest of this century, because the NHS ain't going to last that century. All
right. Nick Robbins, I want to give you the final word here because you've been patient. Let me say two things to you to get your reaction. One is that Andrew Lansley's let the cat out of the bag for the Tories. They have now got to start talking about where the cuts will follow if you ring-fence certain key areas. That's one. So that's a problem for the Tories. The second thing, though, is that the papers on the left and the right will make it clear tomorrow that this is not a choice, as the Prime Minister says, between Labour investment and Tory cuts. It's actually going to be a choice between Labour cuts and Tory cuts.
Yes, but note very carefully, as I did, what the Prime Minister said when he was ad-libbing. He used the word massive cuts. Investment versus massive cuts, because he knows that commentators will point out that he is cutting. He's cutting already. There are MPs getting up and saying, what about the further education colleges that are not being built in my constituency? That's been frozen. But
that wasn't a cut.
Well, it's things that were about to be built that are not being built, which will feel like a cut to any normal human being.
No, it wasn't.
There are the Regional Development Agency. Now, let's try and make it simple. Public expenditure rises in cash terms. We know that. But more and more money has to go on benefits as unemployment goes up, and has to go on debt interest as debt goes up.
Debt interest is going to rise by over 8%.
Yeah. If in addition to that you then, as you say, ring-fence certain areas, you have to make cuts elsewhere. That is just a fact. It's not a debating point. There is then clearly a debate about political priorities. How deeply do you cut? How far do you go? Where do you do it? Neither party, in my view, want to have that debate. Well, the Conservatives are worried. The Conservatives are worried that it will reinforce a notion in people's minds that they are instinctively cutters, and they're nervous it will trigger a debate between some people who want to reopen the whole question of how to run the NHS and others who don't. They'll be divided. The Labour Party know that they're making cuts, but don't want to do it. And there's an argument in the Cabinet about whether this should be publicly admitted or not. But the debate...
Right. Nick, we have started the debate. The debate started on the daily politics. And you know something? It's more important than MPs' expenses or even electoral reform. And I'm glad that we did it. Nick, great to see you as always. Thanks for that. Anita?
Yeah, it is now time for a bit of a girly chat. Don't worry, Andrew. You don't have to go anywhere. You can stay for this.
I want to be part of it.
You can at home as well, because I think it is high time we talked about the ladies and what they want, what they really, really want. Because time after time we are told that women want it all, and with almost as much frequency we're told, tough, we can't have it all. So